With the shadow drop alpha of Splitgate 2, I was happy to jump into a new multiplayer game since I'm sort of getting extremely angry trying to rank up in Marvel Rivals, and I feel like I'm about to put my head through a wall. When the original Splitgate released back in 2019, it was a breath of fresh air, especially as a longtime Halo fan that was just dying for a new Halo game to be released. It pulled in that mix of Portal and Halo vibes, which I was a fan of. So when the devs over at 1047 Games had announced that they will be halting the release of Splitgate 2 to try to rework the game completely, I was disappointed since I really felt that the game had a solid footing. So with the news that the sequel is finally releasing, I felt like I had to jump onto the sticks to try for myself. Does Splitgate 2 have what it takes to be worth playing? Let's jump into it. So when I was playing this alpha, I felt like I had to break this down into what I liked and what I'm really concerned with. So let's first talk about what I liked. The fight-to-fight combat of Splitgate 2 is pretty fun. It definitely is a major change from the last game we played, which was more on the lines of Halo and Portal. It was an arena shooter that, yes, did have some variants of starter weapons, but for the most part, a lot of the weapons that you picked up on the map are really what justified how you went about the map and combat-to-combat moves that you did. It sort of feels more mirroring now to X-Defiant or Apex Legends in the game-to-game play that you feel, because now every faction that you have will not only have a variance of different weapons that you will be able to choose from, but each character will have their own passive and ultimate abilities. When it comes to each faction, each character can pick between a semi-automatic, a shotgun, an assault rifle, a burst rifle, and many different pistol variants. And what I really like about this is that each faction has their own uniqueness to them in the way that you play. Whether you're the Arrows, which is more of a speedster class that's very versatile, where you can have a speed boost ultimate that makes you fly like you're high on cocaine. Not really great for big team battle variants that they have in this game because it's open-ended and you're not really going to be able to jump and dodge in the open field. It's a lot better in 4v4 types of game modes. Meridian, which is more of a support class with a lot of energy-based weapons, with the hypersight ability that gives you the ability to see through walls like you're wall hacking, and the Brass class that has a kind of a mixture of more detonation and explosive type of weapons that are more for damage and kills overall. What I like about each of these classes is the fact that yes, there are different weapons and abilities that you have, but what's cool about that is that it gives each class its own viability in the types of game modes that you play. My favorite class of them all is the Brass class because the weapons I feel like are the best compared to everybody else. The DMR or the semi-automatic reminds me of the original Halo Reach DMR that is really strong and good at range. It's a lot slower when firing, but it works pretty damn well. The shotgun is a lot closer to what the original Halo shotgun was, which is a lot higher damage output, but a lot slower and not a large magazine. Actually feels like a real shotgun. The burst rifle is just like the Halo battle rifle, which is always a good thing for me, being a Halo fan, but all the other guns in the different classes actually have their own viability as well. Whether you're using the heavy pistols that feel like magnums, or if you're using submachine guns with high rates of fire from the Meridian class that are like meat grinders tearing people up. But the basic idea I'm saying here is that it makes each class viable in their own way. Whether you're up close and personal, or you want to be a support class, or if you just want to be a speedster moving from place to place in an outrageously fast way, there are different classes for you. I like that there's many different types of guns you can pick from, and it makes each class feel different in their own way. X-Defiant kind of did a similar feature to this, but the guns were cross-core, meaning that no matter what class you picked, you can pick these different guns. The only thing that really changes was your ability. We've only played a few so far on the 4v4 and multi-team components, but not bad when it comes to the kind of scope and scale and how they feel overall. And I gotta say the power weapons are pretty standard. You have your rocket launcher, you have your sniper rifles, and they have the BFB, which is a big-ass bat, which is one of my favorites in the entire game. Yes, a lot of these power weapons are similar to other games we played before, but the BFB is something unique that nobody has really done. Sure, is it like the hammer or sword from Halo games? Of course, but no one in their right minds has a giant bat that just smashes people to the nether realm. The overall thing I think is the strongest for Splitgate is its gameplay. And I feel like, yes, you don't have to play the Portal style of game with portals shooting all across the map, but if you are a master of that type of gameplay, you can be deadly in this game. There are times where I can just outplay somebody by just firing my weapon and not even use my portals at all, and that's a viable option. But to become better at the game, you do need to learn those other mechanics. And I feel like there's just so much different ways you can go about this game by doing so. But with the good out of the way, we also have to look at what really concerns me. There are a limited amount of game modes that you can pick from in this game so far. And yes, it's an alpha, I get it. There's not a lot of things you can do, But from what it seems so far, there really isn't much to play with. In the 4v4 component, you have team deathmatch, domination, control, and a sort of demolition type of game mode. Yes, they are pretty basic, and we've pretty much seen them in most other multiplayer games to this point, but that's kind of limited. You also have this multi-team, big team battle game mode, which is great. Not many games really do this anymore. The only real games I've seen at this point that have large-scale combat are going to be Halo, Battlefield, and now Splitgate 2. And I like this because it's an 8v8v8 game mode that now has the ability for you to have some really cool gameplay scenarios. But so far, what we've been able to play is domination, controlled, and team deathmatch. The same issue that I see with 4v4. There's only certain things you can do so far in this game when it comes to that large-scale map. That's a problem, because if you don't really create some sort of variances to this, then it's going to get really boring. And sure, on top of that, do they create these chaos version modes, which makes everyone's speed go up tenfold, and your jumps make you feel like you're the Incredible Hulk, jumping from one place to another? Yeah, that's interesting. That could be fun for like maybe 10 minutes, but I feel like I can't really play that mode all day long and feel good about it. I feel like, yes, it's wacky enough for me to enjoy a play session for a day, but me jumping back into it every single day, that's not going to be really beneficial to me. I need to see more variances to this game. The fear that I have with this is that if you get into this mindset of only having maybe 4 playlists to pick from for 6 months, you're going to get into that Halo Infinite problem, where a game can feel really good gameplay-wise, have good weapons, have good customization, and then all of a sudden you have nothing to do for 6+ months because you don't have a lot of variability. Halo Infinite had one of the biggest launches in Halo history, but then the game slowed down or just plummeted completely in its player count because there wasn't anything to do. And I'd rather not see that happen again with Splitgate 2 or any other multiplayer game out there. The problem is you have a lot of excitement about a brand new game, and if you don't really capitalize on that excitement, then you're just going to fall flat. And sure, there are bugs, there are issues with this game. It's an alpha, I understand that. My concern is that if you don't address these issues when it comes to the full release of the game, you can have a game that falls flatter than X-Defiant or Concord or any of these other multiplayer games that has potential. The bugs are pretty bad. I got disconnected from games several times. Spawns are broken. I spawned in front of a dude 3 times in a row in a matter of seconds and died 3 straight times. And I'm not gonna lie, yeah, was it partly my fault for not shooting him in the face instantly? Sure, but there are times where I didn't even have a chance to even contemplate firing my gun yet. So the problem is that if you don't address those issues now, and you have to wait until months into the game to address these problems, it's gonna be bad. And one of the worst things they added was this social feature. I like that they have the ability for you to party up after games. It's something that most multiplayer games refuse to do anymore, which is really dumb in my opinion. But at the same time, when it's a multiplayer game that's solely based on playing with others, wouldn't you want to find an easier way to invite someone to the game and not have a UI that's completely broken or just batshit crazy? Yeah, I think that would be smart. I would not have to invite somebody, click 3 different buttons to try to get to that person's name, bring them to my lobby, or if you're getting invited to someone else's game, you gotta find some special location on this UI for you to actually get into someone else's match. It makes no sense, and it's kind of brain dead in the way you kind of organize this. So yes, would I love to see some updates to this UI? Of course. Because something as simple as inviting someone to a game should not be this complicated. It's not rocket science. So the question then is, do I think Splitgate 2 has what it takes to be successful in this genre? I think it does, but it really does depend on how the devs handle this going forward. There's really 3 methods of thought here. The first one is you can follow the X-Defiant method, where you basically have somewhat of momentum of people excited to play your game, but by you delaying the game so long, like X-Defiant did, where a lot of people played the beta, loved the gameplay, and then they halted the release of the game for 6 months to a year after they were initially playing the beta. And all this momentum and excitement died away, and then when the game finally released, you really didn't do much to keep people around. And well, because of that, the game's gonna die. You can go with the Halo Infinite method, where all this excitement is building up to play this brand new game, and you release the game with 5 game modes, no additions to weapons, no additions to maps, and you just bore people to death for 6+ months. And then only later, until you realize how bad this game started, it starts to get fun. But by that point, you lost all your momentum and now everyone's playing some brand new game. Or you can follow the Marvel Rivals method, where they planned out the game 6 months in ahead so that when the game releases, they have a plan. They have maps, they have people, they have modes to play, so that no matter what, every month you're doing something new. And I can guarantee you Marvel Rivals will be around for a good amount of time, as long as the devs and NetEase don't do something stupid like fire the entire team of people to help keep the game alive. I mean, only an idiot would do that. So my advice for Splitgate 2 and 1047 games is this: you have a great set of gameplay, you have good maps so far, you have a good solid core to what this game could be. But the question is going to be, how do you handle it from here into a year after the game's release? If you do follow one of the first two methods I mentioned with X-Defiant or Halo Infinite, your game's going to die pretty quickly. But if you follow the Marvel Rivals method and actually have content ready to go, then I think this game has a good chance of surviving and actually being fun to play for years to come. But what do you think about Splitgate 2? Did you get to play the alpha at all? If you did, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this type of content, drop a thumbs up and subscribe to support the channel. You can also join up on our memberships that are available now. A lot of special perks to go along with those. Until next time, this is Marsman signing off. Game on.